A while ago, a friend of mine gave me this. For those who don't know what this is a Darrell Waltrip NASCAR trivia game. And so I found this the other day and thought I'd use this while we're being quarantined. I've been sending little Trivial Pursuit questions about racing to my brother and having him answer them, see how he can do with a series of cards over the length of a day. The interesting thing about this is, just like Trivial Pursuit, of course it's got the questions on one side and the answers on the other side, and so it's easy. If you've got the card, you can figure out the answer right away. Wouldn't it be nice if life was like this? That if you just had a card that every time you had a question you could find the answer right away, you'd know what the right answer was and you'd know what to do, you'd know how to react, you'd know how to respond. Unfortunately, life isn't like that, as we've all been reminded recently. We don't really have all the answers we need when we want them. That's not new, though. Back in the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, we're told about a couple named Abraham and Sarah. Abraham had been promised that he was going to have a son that would carry on his name and bless the world. But Abraham was getting old. So was his wife Sarah. And so when they heard that promise, they laughed. They thought, how is this going to happen? How would we ever have a child when we're pushing 100 years old? This is craziness. This doesn't even make sense. My favorite verse from that part of the story is Genesis 18:14. That is a question, actually. The Lord asks them. He says, is anything too hard for the Lord? It's a rhetorical question. Obviously, the answer is God can do anything he wants. You may not see how it's going to work out. You may not have the answer, but he does. Abraham and Sarah knew that. They had heard that. They understood that, but it really didn't make any difference until they had their baby. Then they felt it. It's one thing for us to know the answers. It's one thing for us to read that God's in control. It's one thing for us to think that everything will be fine, but we've got to feel it. We are not rational people. We are feelings-based people. You do more things because you feel like it or don't feel like it than because you think you ought to or not. So the challenge for me today, the challenge for you today, is not just to know that God is good, but to start feeling it.